Hello friends. When Taurus meets Aquarius, it's not just an encounter between two people, it's a collision of worlds. Imagine an earthy meadow rooted in tradition meeting a sky filled with storm clouds, lightning, and dazzling constellations. The Taurus man stands firm, steady, and grounded. The Aquarius woman floats in like a gust of crisp air, carrying a touch of mystery and a suitcase full of ideas that seem to belong to the future. The question is, can the meadow hold the wind, and can the wind love the meadow enough to keep returning? Chemistry. Initial attraction. Their attraction often begins with sheer fascination, but fascination here is more than a passing glance across a crowded room. It's a deep, almost magnetic curiosity about each other's worlds. Taurus, ruled by Venus, is naturally drawn to beauty in all its manifestations, yet his definition of beauty is broader than simple physical perfection. He notices the way someone's voice lingers at the end of a sentence, the subtle grace in how they handle a coffee cup, the sincerity or sparkle in their eyes when they speak. The Aquarius woman's beauty is exactly the kind that catches him off guard. It's not textbook, it's art. She might walk into a room wearing mismatched earrings that somehow look intentional, or she might laugh in a way that's half song, half secret, leaving him wondering what story lies behind it. She rarely conforms to trends, and that's precisely what sets her apart. Where others follow the season's palette, she invents her own. Where others stick to safe conversational topics, she dives into ones that sound as though they belong in late-night philosophy debates or future-focused think tanks. To many, this can be disorienting, but to Taurus, it's a rush of fresh air. He sees her like a painter discovering an entirely new shade of blue, something he didn't know existed but now can't stop seeing. To him, she's exotic not in a superficial sense, but in a soul-deep way. Her unpredictability becomes her signature fragrance, lingering in his mind long after they part. He imagines her in different scenarios, barefoot in a bookstore aisle, passionately defending an idea over dinner, or vanishing into a crowd only to reappear with a wild story about someone she just met. She's the wildflower among neatly trimmed roses, the note of jazz in an otherwise classical composition, the sudden twist in a novel he thought he understood. For Aquarius, the Taurus man is not merely another admirer, he's an anomaly in her pattern. She is used to people either trying to run alongside her lightning-fast mind or giving up entirely. But he doesn't rush to keep up, nor does he drift away. Instead, he stands his ground with a kind of serene patience that both challenges and soothes her. His presence is like the first sip of warm tea after running in cold rain, grounding, restoring, reminding her of something she didn't realize she needed. She senses his steadiness not as stagnation, but as a rare kind of strength. While others might be swept into her whirlwind and lose themselves, he remains rooted. It's as though he is saying without words, "You can be as free as you want, I'll still be here." At first, this unsettles her. Then it intrigues her. Eventually, it draws her in like the quiet hum of a record player in a silent room. Their initial chemistry thrives in this tension between earth and air, tradition and rebellion. Taurus, slow to trust but even slower to let go, is captivated by her unpredictability. Each encounter is a page he's eager to turn. Aquarius, who often finds reliability boring, is surprised to feel touched by his constancy. With him, reliability doesn't mean monotony. It means she can soar knowing there's a safe place to land. In the early days, they find themselves meeting in the middle, building a bridge between his love of the familiar and her hunger for the new. She might call him on a Thursday night suggesting a spontaneous road trip, and though he'll initially raise an eyebrow, he'll pack a bag and go, if only because he knows how her eyes will light up when they're on the road. In turn, he might invite her to a cozy dinner he's cooked entirely from scratch, playing her favorite obscure vinyl in the background. She'll protest that it's too much fuss, but secretly, she'll store the memory in a place she doesn't often open for anyone. Each shared moment feels like they're tasting a new flavor of life, not because they've never experienced excitement or comfort before, but because the combination of the two in one relationship is entirely novel. It's a dance of opposites where neither partner quite knows the next step, yet both are willing to keep moving, guided by the strange, undeniable rhythm that seems to play only when they're together. Emotional dynamics. Here lies both the magic and the challenge, the delicate push and pull that defines the emotional heartbeat of a Taurus man and Aquarius woman pairing. On the surface, their emotional worlds look like they belong to different planets entirely, and in many ways, they do. Taurus is firmly grounded in the earth element, his feelings rise from deep roots. When he loves completely, with a patience and steadiness that can be both comforting and, at times, heavy in its intensity. For him, the ideal relationship is a calm harbor, a place where the storms of life are kept outside and the trust between two people becomes the walls that keep everything safe. He doesn't just value consistency, he requires it. His emotional security is built through patterns, rituals, and the unshakable belief that the person he loves will be there tomorrow in the same way they are today. Chaos in matters of the heart is, for Taurus, not romantic but dangerous. He associates unpredictability with instability, and instability is something he has spent his life learning how to avoid. To him, love should be a constant, not a shifting tide that leaves you guessing where you stand. Aquarius, meanwhile, is ruled by Uranus, the planet of sudden change, innovation, and disruption, and Saturn, the planet of discipline and structure. This combination gives her an emotional rhythm unlike any other. She feels deeply, but her way of processing those feelings doesn't follow the traditional emotional blueprint. She values connection, yes, but she values freedom with equal passion. To her, love is healthiest when it's breathable, when it allows her to step back into her own space without fear of losing the connection she's built. Her love language often comes wrapped in the gift of space. She shows care by trusting her partner enough to give them room, by respecting their individuality, and by expecting the same in return. To Taurus, whose own love language is grounded in physical closeness, shared experiences, and ongoing togetherness, this can be confusing. He may wonder why she wants to retreat when everything feels so good between them. He may take her moments of independence as a sign that her feelings are cooling, when in reality, they might be burning brighter because she's allowed to tend to them privately. When they're at their best, something remarkable happens. Taurus learns that not all love has to be constant physical presence, that sometimes, allowing space can deepen trust rather than weaken it. He sees that emotions can be just as real and lasting even when they don't follow the same daily rituals he's accustomed to. Aquarius, in turn, begins to understand the beauty of slowing down and lingering in moments rather than rushing to the next. She sees how Taurus's emotional depth can be an anchor in her life, preventing her from drifting so far into the winds of change that she forgets where home is. This learning process is rarely instant. It often comes in small, pivotal moments. The first time Taurus lets her disappear for a weekend with friends without checking in constantly, only to have her return to him more affectionate than before. The first time Aquarius stays in one place just because she wants to be there for him, and sees how much that matters to him. These are quiet victories, each one knitting another stitch into the fabric of their trust. Still, mismatches are inevitable. Taurus might, in moments of insecurity, read her independence as detachment, believing she's slowly pulling away. The thought of losing someone he's invested his whole heart into can make him retreat into silence or become subtly possessive, asking questions that sound harmless but carry an undercurrent of worry. Aquarius might, in turn, see his consistent affection as an attempt to control her movements, even if that's far from his intention. She could start pushing back against his closeness, creating more distance just to protect her sense of autonomy. The danger isn't in their differences but in their assumptions. If left unspoken, these misunderstandings can grow into quiet resentments, the kind that don't explode but rather erode the bond slowly. That's why this couple thrives only when they choose mature, transparent conversations over silent analysis. A Taurus man who can say, "I miss you when you're away, but I trust you," gives Aquarius the reassurance she needs without making her feel cornered. An Aquarius woman who can say, "I need time to recharge, but that doesn't mean I'm leaving," offers Taurus the stability he craves without compromising her independence. In the end, their emotional dynamics can be one of their greatest strengths if they lean into understanding rather than trying to change each other. Taurus brings depth, presence, and a sense of permanence to Aquarius's life. Aquarius brings freshness, perspective, and emotional agility to Taurus's world. Together, they can create a relationship that's both anchored and open-ended, a rare balance between holding on and letting go. Long-term compatibility. Long-term, this pairing can unfold into one of two sweeping stories: a lifelong partnership where each becomes the perfect counterbalance to the other, or a gradual drifting apart where their differences harden into walls rather than bridges. It is, in many ways, a relationship of potential, enormous, transformative potential, but also one that demands a willingness to step beyond comfort zones again and again. The Taurus man and Aquarius woman can, over decades, create a life that is as solid as stone yet alive with innovation, or they can find themselves trapped in a quiet stalemate, watching the love that once fascinated them turn into an unresolved puzzle. Taurus brings stability not as a fleeting gesture but as a permanent offering. In the early years, his care might show up in small, tangible ways, making sure bills are paid before the due date, remembering the exact anniversary of their first kiss, ensuring that there's always a warm meal and a familiar comfort waiting at home. As years pass, that same instinct deepens into a long-term commitment to their shared life. He doesn't just provide stability, he builds it brick by brick, so that the foundation of their relationship can hold up against the inevitable storms of time. His love, to him, is a kind of stewardship, not just of feelings, but of the life they share. Aquarius brings something entirely different yet equally vital: freshness and innovation. Where Taurus finds contentment in the known, Aquarius thrives in the realm of the possible. She's the one who might, in their 5th year together, suggest they convert the guest room into a creative studio. In their 10th, she might propose they take a year to live abroad, or that they experiment with plant-based cooking just to see what happens. To some, her ideas may seem whimsical or impractical, but to the relationship, they are oxygen, the constant infusion of something new to keep the air from going stale. When these two forces align, the result is nothing short of remarkable. Their life together becomes a balance between rooted tradition and forward-thinking evolution. The home they share is both a sanctuary and a launchpad, a place where you can curl up in front of a fire, but also a place where you might wake up to find the living room rearranged to make space for a new passion project. Friends may marvel at how they've managed to keep things both grounded and adventurous, and the truth is, it's because they've learned to respect and even depend on each other's natural tendencies. The danger arises when those same tendencies become extremes. A Taurus man who digs his heels in too deeply, refusing to adjust to even the smallest change, can make the Aquarius woman feel caged. Her spirit, so attuned to movement and expansion, begins to chafe against the walls of a life that feels more like a locked vault than a shared home. In those moments, she may find herself looking outside the relationship for the stimulation she's missing, not necessarily in another person, but in causes, adventures, or commitments that pull her further away. Conversely, an Aquarius woman who allows her unpredictability to spiral unchecked can rattle the very core of a Taurus man's sense of security. If every week brings a new plan, a new direction, or a sudden reversal, the bull begins to feel he is building a house on shifting sand. His natural patience can turn to quiet frustration, and his instinct to provide stability can start to feel more like a losing battle. To Taurus, reliability is not optional, it is love itself in motion. The path to enduring compatibility lies in compromise that's not grudging but chosen with mutual respect. Taurus must learn to loosen his grip when life doesn't follow the schedule he's carefully set. He needs to see that a bit of chaos doesn't mean the end of order, and that sometimes, it can even enrich the life he's so carefully built. He may not leap into every new idea Aquarius proposes, but he can practice saying, "Let's try," more often than, "Let's wait." Aquarius, in turn, must come to understand that routines are not chains but often gestures of care. When Taurus insists on certain traditions or predictable rhythms, it's not because he wants to clip her wings, it's because those rhythms are how he expresses love and ensures their life remains secure. For her, agreeing to some structure isn't surrendering freedom, it's creating a dependable base from which she can keep exploring. In the best-case scenario, decades down the line, they will look back and realize they've created a partnership that has weathered change and honored constancy in equal measure. The Taurus man will have learned that the future doesn't have to be feared if it's built together, and the Aquarius woman will have discovered that the present moment can be just as thrilling when it's shared with someone who knows how to hold it steady. In such a life, tradition and innovation don't just coexist, they feed each other, making the love between them stronger, wiser, and endlessly alive. Communication conflict resolution. Taurus tends to communicate in a straightforward, sometimes blunt manner, and this style is both one of his greatest strengths and one of the biggest challenges in his relationship with an Aquarius woman. When he speaks, he usually means exactly what he says. There's no elaborate subtext, no hidden agenda, no need to read between the lines. His words are like solid bricks, laid out clearly so the listener knows exactly where they stand. He appreciates clarity in return, believing that honesty, even if it stings in the moment, is the most respectful way to communicate. For him, ambiguous answers feel like doors half open, creating unnecessary tension. Aquarius, by contrast, approaches communication as a multi-layered process. She is capable of directness when she chooses to be, but more often, her thoughts and feelings come out wrapped in nuance, metaphor, and sometimes a dash of humor that only makes sense in hindsight. She weaves logic with intuition, sprinkling in abstract ideas that might not seem relevant to the immediate discussion but make perfect sense in her mind. She isn't evasive, at least not intentionally, but she does think out loud, and her mind doesn't always move in a straight line. To her, conversations are like rivers. They can meander, double back, and flow in unexpected directions before reaching their destination. For Taurus, this style can be puzzling, even frustrating. If they're discussing a concrete matter, say, a financial decision or a household responsibility, and she drifts into philosophical territory, he may interpret it as dodging the point. To him, it's as if he's trying to read a map while she's painting the scenery around it. For Aquarius, his insistence on sticking to the point can sometimes feel rigid, as though he's closing the door on a deeper exploration of the topic. These differences become even more pronounced in moments of conflict. Taurus has a natural instinct to resolve disagreements quickly and decisively. If something is wrong, he wants to talk it through immediately, lay the cards on the table, and come to a conclusion. The idea of letting tension linger is uncomfortable for him. It feels like a stone in his shoe that he can't ignore. He believes that facing an issue head-on is the only way to prevent it from festering into something bigger. Aquarius, however, processes conflict differently. When tensions rise, her first instinct is often to take a step back and think things over. She values perspective and doesn't want to say something in the heat of the moment that she'll regret. To her, time and space are tools for clarity. She would rather revisit the topic after she's sorted through her feelings and examined the situation from different angles. The idea of being pushed into an immediate discussion can feel suffocating, as if she's being asked to hand over a conclusion before she's even finished gathering her thoughts. This difference in pacing can be the spark that turns a small disagreement into a larger one. Taurus might see her request for space as withdrawal or avoidance, interpreting it as a lack of commitment to resolving the issue. Aquarius might see his push for an instant solution as emotional pressure, a demand to operate on his timetable rather than her own. Without awareness, they can end up in a frustrating loop. He pushes, she retreats, he pushes harder, she retreats further. The healthiest path forward for them involves mutual respect for each other's communication rhythms. Taurus benefits greatly from learning to give her the time she needs to think without interpreting it as a personal rejection. He can remind himself that space doesn't mean disinterest, and that when she returns to the conversation, it will likely be with more thoughtful input. Aquarius, on her side, benefits from making a conscious effort to circle back to the discussion rather than letting it fade away. Her follow-through reassures Taurus that she values resolution as much as he does. Practical strategies can help bridge the gap. Agreeing on timeouts during heated moments allows both to step away without fear of abandonment or escalation. Setting a clear expectation for when they'll revisit the discussion, whether it's in a few hours or the next day, keeps Taurus's need for closure in balance with Aquarius's need for processing. They can also agree to avoid silent grudges, recognizing that unspoken resentment is far more corrosive than a difficult conversation. When they succeed, disagreements shift from feeling like battles to win into puzzles to solve together. Taurus can bring his strength for structure and decisive action, while Aquarius can bring her ability to see unconventional angles and creative solutions. Over time, they may come to see their differences not as obstacles but as complementary tools, his grounding ensuring they don't lose focus, her perspective ensuring they don't overlook possibilities. In this way, their contrasting communication styles become a shared strength, the kind that not only resolves conflict but also deepens their trust in each other's ability to listen, adapt, and grow. Physical intimate connection. Physically, Taurus is one of the most sensual signs in the zodiac, and for him, intimacy is never something to rush. It's an experience to be savored, a language spoken without words, and a way to express the depth of his emotions in the most tangible form possible. He is deeply attuned to touch, not just in the obvious ways, but in the subtle moments, the brush of fingertips while passing a cup, the lingering warmth of a hand on the small of the back, the slow, steady pressure of an embrace that says more than any sentence could. For Taurus, physical connection is a slow, deliberate unfolding, where each moment builds upon the last until it becomes something profound. He approaches intimacy the way he might tend a garden, with patience, attentiveness, and an understanding that the most beautiful blooms take time to open. He notices every small detail, from the softness of skin to the rhythm of breathing, and he takes genuine pleasure in ensuring his partner feels cherished and desired. To him, physical love is not just about passion, it's about creating an atmosphere where two people can feel completely safe in each other's presence. Aquarius, however, moves through the realm of physical connection in a different but equally fascinating way. For her, intimacy is rarely an isolated act. It's part of a larger, ongoing dance between mind, body, and spirit. Stimulation for her often begins long before any physical touch occurs. A lively exchange of ideas, playful banter, an unexpected shared moment of laughter, these are the sparks that ignite her interest. She wants to feel intellectually and emotionally engaged before surrendering to the physical. If Taurus is the slow fire in the hearth, Aquarius is the flash of lightning across the sky, unpredictable, electrifying, and impossible to ignore. Her approach can sometimes surprise Taurus. While he may prefer a gradual build-up, she might shift gears unexpectedly, bringing spontaneity into moments he thought would be familiar. She enjoys experimenting, not necessarily in a purely physical sense, but in the ways they connect. A sudden kiss in a quiet bookstore aisle, a whispered thought in the middle of a crowded room, a change in routine that keeps their connection from becoming predictable. When they find a rhythm that honors both of their needs, their physical life together can be incredibly rich and deeply satisfying. Taurus offers depth, tenderness, and a reassuring steadiness that grounds their connection. Aquarius brings novelty, a sense of play, and an openness to exploring beyond the borders of the familiar. Together, they can create a physical bond that's both secure and exciting, a rare combination that keeps both partners engaged over the long term. However, challenges can arise if they misread each other's intentions. Taurus, with his steady, deliberate style, might interpret Aquarius's curiosity and desire for variety as restlessness or dissatisfaction, fearing she's searching for something he cannot provide. Aquarius, on the other hand, might misinterpret Taurus's consistency as a lack of excitement or reluctance to try new things, not realizing that for him, the magic lies in the slow burn rather than the quick spark. These misunderstandings, if left unchecked, can create distance where there should be closeness. The key is mutual exploration without judgment. Taurus can benefit from occasionally stepping outside his comfort zone, allowing her adventurous nature to introduce him to experiences he might never have sought out on his own. Even small gestures, changing the setting, breaking routine, or embracing spontaneity, can show her that he's willing to meet her halfway. Likewise, Aquarius can learn to appreciate the beauty of his unhurried approach. By slowing down, she may discover layers of intimacy she's never experienced before, the kind of connection that deepens not just desire but trust. She might find that his way of loving physically is not about resisting change, but about ensuring that each new experience is fully felt, rather than rushed past. When they choose to see their differences as complementary rather than conflicting, their physical relationship becomes a source of renewal rather than tension. The steadiness of Taurus gives their passion a strong foundation, while the inventiveness of Aquarius ensures it never becomes stale. Over time, they may come to realize that their unique balance, the harmony between slow fire and bright spark, is what keeps the flame alive year after year. Shared values. Life goals. Taurus values security in the deepest, most practical sense of the word. For him, a good life is built on a foundation that doesn't crack under pressure: a steady income, a comfortable home, a reliable routine, and the kind of emotional stability that allows both partners to feel safe no matter what storms come their way. He cherishes comfort not as indulgence but as the rightful reward for hard work. A cozy living room, a well-stocked pantry, a savings account that quietly grows. These are not just conveniences to Taurus, they are symbols of success, responsibility, and love. He measures progress in tangible steps: the mortgage shrinking, the garden growing, the small goals achieved that build toward something lasting. Aquarius, on the other hand, carries a different compass entirely. Her values orbit around freedom, personal growth, and the pursuit of meaning, often in unconventional ways that challenge the status quo. While Taurus finds satisfaction in building a life that's steady and predictable, Aquarius is driven by a need to explore, to innovate, and to impact the world beyond her immediate surroundings. She is the one who might suggest volunteering abroad, starting a non-traditional business, or pursuing a passion project that doesn't have a clear financial payoff but feeds her soul. For her, progress isn't just measured in dollars or milestones, but in personal transformation and the ripple effects of her actions. On the surface, these priorities can seem fundamentally mismatched. Taurus might see her constant quest for change as instability, while Aquarius could view his attachment to structure as limiting. Yet, if they approach their differences with respect, they may discover that their values are not in conflict but in balance. Taurus ensures that their shared life has a foundation strong enough to support their dreams, while Aquarius ensures that the dream never stops evolving. He provides the roots, she brings the wings. In the best-case scenario, this becomes a powerful partnership of complementary strengths. Taurus takes the lead in managing the structural side of life, handling finances, creating routines, making sure the essentials are in place. Aquarius, freed from worrying about the basics, can focus on seeking new opportunities, expanding their horizons, and injecting freshness into their shared journey. This balance keeps the relationship both secure and alive. However, friction is almost inevitable when their priorities feel out of sync. Taurus can grow frustrated if he feels she's too focused on out there causes, advocating for global change, engaging in community projects, or chasing visionary goals, while neglecting the in here matters that keep their daily life running smoothly. He may interpret her passion for the big picture as a lack of care for the immediate one. Conversely, Aquarius can feel stifled if she senses he's too fixated on the material, measuring worth solely by financial security or physical comfort, and forgetting that there's more to life than protecting what you already have. She may begin to see his caution as fear, his love of stability as resistance to growth. The turning point comes when they identify a unifying purpose, something that honors both of their value systems. This could be raising a family in a way that combines security with open-mindedness, building a business that blends profitability with social impact, or championing a cause they both believe in deeply. When they find that shared mission, their strengths lock into place like interlocking gears. Taurus's determination and persistence keep the goal moving forward steadily, while Aquarius's vision and adaptability ensure it evolves with changing times. Over the years, they may come to see that their differences are not obstacles but the very reason they succeed together. Taurus teaches Aquarius the importance of follow-through, that inspiration alone is not enough without a stable foundation. Aquarius shows Taurus that security doesn't have to mean sameness, that stability can be a springboard for growth rather than a wall against it. Together, they can create a life where comfort and adventure, tradition and innovation, coexist not as compromises but as deliberate choices. In the end, their shared values and life goals form a dynamic equilibrium. The bull holding the ground steady, the water-bearer pouring in fresh streams of possibility. And if they can keep honoring both roles, they will not only align beautifully, they will build a shared life that feels both safe and limitless. Final thoughts. The love story of a Taurus man and an Aquarius woman is not the kind of romance that unfolds without effort. It is not the easy, predictable pairing that moves along in a straight line. Instead, it is a dynamic, evolving relationship that challenges both partners to step outside their familiar patterns. At its core, it is a union of grounding and flight, a delicate balance between the steady pull of the earth and the free sweep of the sky. He brings the weight of tradition, the reassurance of constancy, and the protective embrace of stability. She brings the winds of change, the spark of innovation, and the audacity to imagine a life that is bigger than what either of them could have conceived alone. The Taurus man, patient and deliberate, is a teacher of stillness. Without him, she might keep moving forever, skimming the surface of connections without letting them sink in. He shows her the beauty of staying in one place long enough to let love grow roots deep into the soil, to see how intimacy evolves when it isn't constantly uprooted. Through his presence, she learns that commitment does not have to feel like a cage, that there is a kind of freedom in knowing someone is solidly, unshakably there. His love is a place she can return to, no matter how far she roams in pursuit of her dreams. The Aquarius woman, restless and visionary, is a teacher of expansion. Without her, he might settle too quickly into routines, letting comfort slowly dull the edge of possibility. She reminds him that love can also thrive when it is given wings, when two people dare to grow together in new directions instead of clinging to the old ones. She shows him that change is not the enemy of stability but can be its natural companion, breathing fresh air into what might otherwise become stagnant. Through her influence, he learns that safety and adventure are not mutually exclusive, that a well-rooted life can still reach toward the horizon. This pairing demands that both be willing to stretch beyond their comfort zones. For Taurus, it means embracing unpredictability and trusting that not all change leads to chaos. For Aquarius, it means recognizing the value of consistency and trusting that stability is not a trap. In learning to respect each other's needs, they also learn to soften their own edges, discovering new facets of themselves they might never have explored alone. Theirs is not a love without storms. There will be moments when his need for order clashes with her need for freedom, when her thirst for novelty challenges his preference for the familiar. They may have to renegotiate their boundaries more often than other couples. But if they approach these moments with the understanding that neither is trying to diminish the other, that each is simply wired differently, they can turn potential conflicts into opportunities for deeper connection. When this relationship works, it works in a way that defies easy categorization. It becomes a safe harbor and an open horizon at the same time, a place where they can both rest and dream, recover and launch forward. It is a life that holds the security of shared routines alongside the thrill of shared adventures, the comfort of what they know and the excitement of what they have yet to discover. It won't always be simple, but then again, the most extraordinary love stories rarely are. Simplicity is not what makes this connection worth pursuing. It is the complexity, the contrast, the way their differences keep them awake to each other's presence. Together, they can create a love that is not only lasting but also alive, a partnership that honors the grounding pull of the bull and the boundless vision of the water-bearer. And in that meeting of earth and air, they may just find a way to build something rare. A life that is both steady enough to endure and wide enough to soar.